China's new leader, Xi Jinping, impressed many people with a plain-spoken promise to address problems in the country's ruling party on Thursday, but his new leadership team offered few clues as to a clear shift in direction. Mr. Xi, who formally took over from Hu Jintao as General Secretary of the Communist Party on Thursday, was presented to foreign and domestic reporters after a highly scripted party congress intended mainly to laud the work of Mr. Hu and set very broad priorities for Mr. Xi's tenure. According to tradition, Mr. Xi appeared on stage the day after the Congress ended with other members of the party's Politburo Standing Committee, the 7-member body that effectively runs China. Mr. Xi then gave a speech on live television that avoided most of the slogans that characterized Mr. Hu's recent addresses. In fact, he did not mention Mr. Hu or any of his predecessors, instead calling on the party to fight corruption and promising to continue China's rejuvenation. Inside the party, there are many problems that need be addressed, especially the problems among party members and officials of corruption and taking bribes, being out of touch with the people, undue emphasis on formalities and bureaucracy and other issues, Mr. Xi said. He also pledged to improve citizens' lives, including offering better schooling, more stable jobs, more satisfying incomes, more reliable social security, higher levels of health care, more comfortable housing conditions and a more beautiful environment, so they can look forward to their children growing up in better circumstances, finding better work and living in better conditions. People striving for a better life is the goal we are struggling for, he added. Reflecting his upbringing as the son of a high-ranking official in Beijing, Mr. Xi spoke in clear Mandarin Chinese, making him one of the first modern Chinese leaders whose speech does not bear the heavy accents of an upbringing in one of China's provinces. Mr. Xi takes office with more titular authority than any Chinese leader in history. He will now be the chief of the ruling Communist Party and will take over sooner than expected from Mr. Hu as the chairman of the Central Military Commission, the top overseer of China's armed forces. Next spring, he will assume the position of state president. Other leaders in the post-Mao era have had more staggered transitions into the top posts. Even so, Mr. Xi will have to contend with numerous other well-connected princelings, or sons and daughters of influential past leaders, and a factionalized communist party that tends to operate by consensus rather than strongman rule. He is unlikely to have the sweeping authority of Mao or Deng Xiaoping. Although Mr. Xi's appointment has been expected since 2007, when he was essentially named Mr. Hu's successor, it was the first chance for the Chinese to see him in action. Li Zhen, the retired county leader in Hebei province who served there at the same time as Mr. Xi in the early 1980s, noted that Mr. Xi had not repeated many of Mr. Hu's slogans. Instead, he stressed the party's responsibilities to the masses and the heroism of the people, as well as the need to root out corruption in the party, Mr. Li said. He was very frank and showed his consideration for the people. His speech was also widely discussed on China's social media sites, which largely reflect an educated urban population. He Bing of the University of Political Science and Law in Beijing wrote on Weibo microblog, "He speaks with a human touch." Others were more critical. I read Xi's speech, Jian He, the guest professor at Shantou University in Guangdong Province, wrote on Weibo. He mentioned the word party 20 times, people appeared 19 times, responsibility was said 10 times and problems 3 times. Didn't use anything related to law. No law, no constitution, no rule of law nor democracy, no freedom.